What is a word? This is apparently a really simple question. Like a word is just this thing that is present in dictionaries. It's part of vocabulary, um, and it has a meaning. And we use it for communication. Cool, right? Interesting. But now, what is a word in terms of how it came to be? This is something that sometimes I tell my students that I think that a word is not just a word, it's not just this symbol, but of course, it's the representation of all the things that came before and all the communication needs that came before and didn't have a word until the moment that things became so overwhelming and the needs around this concept became so overwhelming that a word was created, or a word came to be organically sometimes. Maybe one way to maybe think about this would, let's take a word, the word cow, for example. And I'd like you to think about all the things that are part of this without saying the word cow, right? What is this thing? An animal, a mammal, it produces milk. Humans have been using this animal to produce milk commercially, and then this is a piece of information that separates this cow from every other cow, or kinds of cows, or kinds of milk producing animals. And it's four-legged. It has a gap within the two parts of its hoof, and it lives on farms, things like that. And then with all of these characteristics, everybody knows what we're talking about. And then cow. Cow is the word that represents these things. Cow is not vaca in Portuguese. That's the translation of the word, but in different languages, all of those needs and all of those representations will end up on maybe a different word that is not the equivalent word, because the needs of this language and that these people have had over the years are different from the needs that this population had and that came up with that word. So also something that I say to my students is that sometimes words don't have a perfect equivalence. Try to think of a word as having a size, a specific size, say 5 centimeters. This word has 5 centimeters in English, and this word has 6 centimeters in Portuguese. And then you put them close together, and some characteristics will vary and will be shared, but this part of characteristics that are not shared between the two will have maybe other words to describe in whatever language. So it's like, I think it's more important to know the definition of a word in the language that you're learning than any translation, because of how they came to be and because of why they exist and how they came to exist. So this also has implications on how you learn a certain word. I believe that learning just the word is not and should not be the focus, the main focus, but describing what the word is before you finally exhaust your possibilities of description, and then you finally need a word for that. Or even though you don't have a word, but you have ways of going around it and using the other words that you have to go to the same place, to get to the same word, or to give to the other person the same imagery that you are trying. to make them think about. Just a thought. Thank you.